YouTube, Kurt Curtis. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of community garage sales, neighborhood sales, town-wide sales, whatever you want to call it. Before I get started, it's going to seem like there's a lot more cons than there is pros, and I just want to mention that I love these type of sales. They're my favorite type of sales to go to, and I'm not trying to downplay them and say that they're bad or anything. But there is some cons to these sales, and there's lots to discuss and talk about these. And I'm also talking about as a reseller, shopping at these as a reseller on eBay. If you're just shopping for, personal items and stuff, that's different. But as far as being a reseller, going to these sales. So there's only a few pros, but the pros are really good that they outweigh all the cons, in my opinion. And the biggest pro is there's a lot of sales, a bunch of sales, just in one area, one condensed area. You can go to like these subdivision community sales, which are only like 5 houses or less, sometimes 5 to 10 houses. But the really big community sales are like the town-wide ones. These have typically 50, 75. I've been to some that have over 100 garage sales all in one town. And it's crazy because you can just, drive to one area and go to all these garage sales rather than, driving 2, 3, even up to 5 miles to each sale back and forth. So the fact that everything's all in one place makes it very convenient, and you can walk away with a bunch of stuff. Some people might consider this a con, but I actually consider this a pro, is a lot of these will have so many sales that you can't make it to every sale. And some people would not like that, but I actually like it. And here's why. Because there's so many sales, everyone can't be at this, like when the community sale first starts at its start time, everyone can't be at every sale at the same time. So for the first, I want to say hour, but definitely the first like 20 minutes or so, you just have, your competition's not all going to be in one place. So you have like first picks at these sales, at these community sales. Typically, I find the majority of the stuff that I pick up throughout the whole day within the first hour. And a lot of times it's within the first couple sales, because sometimes you'll go to the first couple sales and you'll be the only one there. Because if there's 100 garage sales everywhere and there's 100 resellers going to all these, not everyone's going to start at the same location, which we will get to later. And yeah, I like that because it just spreads everything out. There's tons of items for everyone. Everyone's at different sales. Whereas if there's like, a weekend and in your kind of area, there's like 3 garage sales going on, and then you got your 100 resellers in the area going to these 3 garage sales. Like, yeah, there's going to be more than just you at the sale right away going for stuff. So, yeah, I consider that a pro, that there's so many sales you can't make it to all of them. And at a certain point throughout the day, because some people I think will get overexcited and be like, I'm going to hit up all 100 sales, blah blah blah, pick up all this stuff. It's kind of not worth it. After the first hour, most of the good stuff's gone. You can still find stuff, don't get me wrong, but these typically start 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. By noon, it's over, man. All the good stuff's gone. You can still shop for personal items, and maybe there's some real obscure stuff that only you know about, but in general, stuff's long gone at that point, man. So you're still driving around at like noon, 1 o'clock and stuff. Like, I usually call it a day at that point, because typically once it gets to that point, I don't find much the previous hour or so. But that just depends on the sale. Could be wrong. I found good stuff late in the day too. So yeah. Another pro, which this just depends on the sale and your personal experience, is from my experience, most of the time it's cheaper prices, because these communities, say like a city or a town is running the sale, people that typically won't do garage sales will do the garage sale, and they're just doing it to like get rid of stuff, or just for like a social event or something, because the whole town's doing it. Everyone's going to be outside set up, and they want to be part of it, and they just put stuff out, and they're not trying to get top dollar for their stuff. They're just basically giving stuff away for super cheap. However, that's not always the case. I remember this sale because I was just so confused by it. This was in a community sale. I walk up to the sale, there's a box of books. I start digging through the books. The guy running the sale, it's like, oh, the books are $5 each. Okay, I just left. Like, no one charges $5 for some paperback books at garage sales. They're 50 cents, they're $1. Like, that guy probably didn't sell a book all day. But yeah, for the most part, from my experience, prices can be cheaper. Sometimes people doing individual garage sales actually kind of do it like a business. Like they probably go to garage sales, pick stuff up for cheap, and then they host a garage sale because they don't want to sell it online. So they're actually trying to get like a certain amount per item. A lot of storage unit people that buy storage units will run their own garage sales, and they're not going to be giving stuff away for 50 cents unless they really don't want it. And people that do auctions and stuff like that. So sometimes, not always, sometimes it's just people getting rid of stuff. They do it once a year, get rid of the kids' stuff or whatever. But sometimes you actually have people running individual garage sales. It's kind of like a small business type thing. So prices can be higher. But yeah, those are some of the pros of community garage sales. Now let's get to the cons, because there's a lot of them. And first up, competition is fierce. You think you're the only one out there trying to find video games? Nah, man. You're not the only reseller in the town. Like, there's tons of people that do this, and the competition is super fierce at these community sales because everyone knows it's a good opportunity and everyone's there. Everyone's jacked up. Everyone's ready to go to find good stuff. I've seen, like, man, at these, some people, seriously, they roll up their car, they don't even park, they just stop in the middle of the street, get out of the car, it's still running, the door's wide open, they're blocking the whole street, they just run up to the sale, look really quick, ask for what they're looking for, and they don't see it, and then they just run back, and they seriously sprint back to their car and they go. And if you're looking for very specific items, I could see this, I could understand this, but like, I've seen people, they don't even look in any boxes, they don't do anything, they're looking for the very obvious easy stuff, which that's gone. Like, you know, after 20 minutes, definitely after an hour, that stuff is gone, man. You're not going to be able to hit up that many sales in an hour doing that. And they're missing stuff. You got to take your time at some of these sales too, because you want to keep moving. You don't want to be staying at a sale if it has junk, but definitely look and take your time, because a lot of people are rushing at these sales. They're seriously running back and forth, like sprinting from their car, trying to like get specific things, and they don't look at anything. And sometimes you got to take your time, especially if you get to a sale and you start finding a few things. Don't rush out. Like FOMO, people are so scared of missing out. They're like, oh, I got to get to the next sale, see what they have. You're at a good sale, you're finding stuff. Take your time, look more. Usually if you find a couple good things at a sale, they're gonna have more. Not always the case, but generally they do. One community garage sale I went to this summer, the first 3 sales I went to, it probably took me like 45 minutes to those 3 sales, because I was finding stuff at the sales. I was digging through stuff. I was taking my time. I was already at the good sale. There was no need to rush to another sale to find another good sale when I'm already at one. So yeah, competition is super fierce, and you're not the only one asking for video games. You're not the only one looking for records. You're not the only one looking for jewelry or Pokemon cards and sports cards. Like, everyone's asking. You go to community garage sales and ask for video games, people will be like, you're the 3rd person that asked me today, and it's only like 30 minutes into the thing. Like, you're not the only one doing this, man. Like, people are out there. There's enough stuff out there. There's stuff for everyone. So you're gonna still walk away with a bunch of stuff, but it's just, if there's an individual garage sale on the weekend, there's just kind of 1 or 2 in the neighborhood. Some people are lazy and they're not going to try to go to these. So like, you know, sometimes you can have better luck at that. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of resellers out there that just go to the community sales, because if you are willing to travel, you could probably find one almost every weekend throughout the whole summer, you know, because a lot of towns will do them once a year. And yeah, I bet you a lot of people just go to these. Another con is you're going to get a lot of junk sales. What I mean by these is kind of what I mentioned earlier, is that people are only doing the garage sale because their community is doing it, and they're just kind of doing it as a social event, and they just put out a couple tables full of some knickknacks and stuff, and they just want to be part of the event. And you know, a lot of times when people do an individual garage sale, they're going to make sure there's a lot of stuff out there because it's only that sale, and they're doing the garage sale for a reason, to clear stuff out, to free up space. With these community sales, a lot of people just put out a couple tables and a lot of junk. But I mean, you have to go through it, so you're going to get a lot of like crappy sales, but it's fine because there's so many sales. If there's like 100 garage sales and like 20 of them are just little knick-knack tables from some old lady, like, it's all right. And sometimes you can find good stuff at those. Another con Kind of mentioned this too, is they can be very crowded, like people clogging up the streets with their car. Like sometimes you can roll up to one sale and there's just like 8, 10 cars, and you seriously have to park like houses down just to walk up there, because a lot of people go to these things. So it can be crowded. And that also brings me to, it's a long day because you're in and out of your car. Typically these, I mean, I've seen them before where you can kind of just walk around, but typically, even though it's all in one city, all the houses aren't right next to each other. So you're still driving around on the streets and stuff. But I mean, it can be a very long day getting in and out of your car, and especially if a lot of the sales are junk, you're not finding stuff. That's why I say usually by noon, it's like I'm not finding stuff. I'm driving around in and out of the car, in and out, in and out, in and out, and you're not finding stuff. Yeah, it can be a long day. Be prepared for it. One of the problems I have is going to the bathroom, like, because I drink a lot of coffee in the morning. Like 2 hours into this, I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom, and I can't unless I want to stop. So keep that in mind. Another con, but I don't know, it's not really a con, but just something to consider, is planning. Obviously, I plan the night before my garage sales, like where I'm going and all that kind of thing. But with community sales, the planning is a little bit more, a little bit deeper, because there's some strategy involved. So if there's a whole, just the map of the area, the community sale, where are you going to start? They have all the little pinpoints of all the addresses and stuff. Where are you going to start? You got to have a starting point, and then once you get to the starting point, you got to have a route. Because if you're just going blind driving around, you're gonna forget where you've been and where you haven't been. So you got to have a plan. And sometimes for community sales, there'll be like the whole city, and there'll be like more sales in one area of the city than the other. A lot of times I'll go to the one with less sales because I figure less people will be there. But who knows? You don't know. Those sales could end up being junk. It's just kind of how I do it. But yeah, I mean, if you go to the little batch where there's more sales, you could end up getting more stuff. Who knows? But yeah, there is some strategy involved in it. You kind of want to show up early, but not too early, because if you show up too early, then people aren't set up yet, and then you just miss the sale because they're not setting up yet. But you don't really want to show up like exactly on time, because other people will totally be out there already. I usually try to show up like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so before the official start time, and usually people are set up. Also, kind of talked about this too, but a lot of times you'll feel rushed. I've been trying to get better at this, but don't feel rushed. Like in the back of your mind, like there's 100 sales, like I want to get to the next sale, see what they have. Like by the time you get to the next sale, someone's already been to the sale. Like it's probably picked through. So not completely, but like any obvious stuff is gone, man. So don't rush yourself. I mean, go at a quick pace, but like I said, if you're finding good stuff at a sale, stay at the sale. You're finding good stuff. There's no reason. FOMO is such a big thing. People they're just, oh man, they think they're gonna miss out, and you're gonna leave a good sale you're already at to go to another junk one. So I don't know. Keep a fast pace, but don't rush yourself at these sales. And I guess the last con I have is the power of the ask is pretty much gone. I mentioned this earlier too. You're not the only one asking for video games. Other people are too. When you're at like an individual garage sale, the power of the ask is a little bit better. Whatever you're looking for, Pokemon cards, because I don't know, typically there's like less people, it's whatever. But at the community sales, there's so many people out there, and so many people are asking for stuff that odds of your asks actually coming through are less, in my opinion, than an individual garage sale. However, I found good stuff before at like subdivision sales on an ask. So I don't know, just my opinion. The power of the ask loses its power. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Still try, if you're looking for specific stuff, but everyone's looking for specific stuff. Like some of these community garage sales, seriously, with 100 houses, I guarantee you throughout the day, maybe not all at the start, over 1,000 people got to be going to these things. Like tons of people. You think out of the 1,000 people, you're the first one to ask for whatever you're looking for? Possibly, but who knows? But yeah, that's all I have. With all that being said, I do love community garage sales. My favorite kind of sales to go to, but don't get your expectations too high, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And yeah, a lot of times too, these things are advertised as community sales when you get there, and their community is 3 houses. So there's certain ones that are advertised and they have pinpoints for each house participating, and you can literally see 100 pinpoints, so you know that's a huge mega one. But some of them that don't have that, and they're just like neighborhood sale, more times than not it's just a few houses. Doesn't mean you shouldn't check it out. I still go anyway, but at first when I was going to these, I was like all excited for a whole day out garage sailing, and I get to the community sale and it's a couple houses, and after 20 minutes I'm like, okay, it's over. So don't get your expectations too high. I guess another pro is you could just walk out with a bunch of stuff. Typically, if I go to one of these big community sales, even though with all the cons, the competition, all the stuff, still walk out with like my car, at least my trunk filled with stuff. You could easily fill your car with stuff on these things. Yeah. There's also some things that you're looking for, other people aren't. Not because they don't know it's valuable, it's just they don't deal with that kind of stuff, and vice versa. So, but yeah, that's going to be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time.